It is me, Nimue Shinkai. I never really introduced myself, but hello! We are back to the Apollo Justice Ace Attorney trilogy. We are still on game 1, and we are on case 3, or trial 3. We're about to start the trial. And hello, Charlie. Hello. Okay, let us get started. Okay. We are in the mood for a trial. Okay. Oh, no even pre-court. Court is now in session for... how do I say that? Machi Tobaye, Your Honor, the pixie of the Arpeggio. Whatever. Right, his trial. Court is in session. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is A-okay, Herr Judge. Very well. Prosecutor Gavin. Ah, my opening statement, yeah? No, actually, there was something else I wanted to ask you about. Yes? You say you're going to visit someone in the hospital with an incurable disease. What do you say to them? Huh? I mean, you wouldn't say get well soon, right? Judge, what are you talking about? You'd only be kicking them when they're down. What are you talking about? Actually, I'm going to visit someone who is terminally ill. Right after this trial. The Chief Justice's son. The Chief Justice? His son is afflicted with the most terrible disease. He doesn't have long, it seems. Ah. So I thought I'd go pay him a visit. I thought saying something moving might be the order of the day. Why don't grown-ups ever just say what's on their mind instead of pretending? She's looking at me with something like disgust. Hey, what are you looking at me like that for? In any case, I'm a bit busy today, so let's wrap this up quickly. Prosecutor Gavin, your opening statement. Briefly. You're in luck, Herr Judge. I believe you're going to be going on your hospital visit sooner than you think. First, to review the victim in this case. Romain Latouche, age 35. The global manager for diva songstress Lemmy Roy. The cause of death, blood loss due to being shot by a large caliber revolver. This report is all the details. The court accepts this into evidence. Okay. Estimated time of death from a gunshot wound. Okay. 45 caliber. That's quite large, isn't it? A direct hit from that could knock a man off his feet. However, the bullet struck him in the shoulder. The damage to the body was slight. Death was not immediate. Sadly, his blood loss was such that he could not be saved. I suppose the victim's condition could have been much worse, considering. Victim shot in shoulder in Lemmy Roy's room. I can never pronounce her name. 2 shots were fired. 1 shot missed, the other penetrated and passed through the victim's shoulder. Both bullets were found in the wall at the scene. Observe this diagram. This is where the bullets hit. There's a wall in the way of one of them, so it must be at an angle. I see. The court accepts this evidence. Okay. If we're talking about a 45 caliber revolver, we must assume that the killer was adept at the weapon's use. Really? Yeah, apparently weapons that size have a powerful kickback. If, say, the judge tried to fire one, it'd break every bone in his body. The defense will take more care in choosing examples. As I was saying, the victim was shot backstage in a dressing room. This dressing room only has one entrance, this door. That does seem to be the case, yes. However, there were witnesses who heard the gunshots.
He's talking about you and Emma, huh?
Yet, when the witnesses entered the room, it was empty, save for the victim's body, of course. But that's impossible. Exactly. This murder was impossible. For all but one person. One person? That is, of course, the defendant, Machi Tobaye. Only the defendant could have committed the crime? But how? It's quite simple. The circumstances of the crime scene make it clear. Very well. I assume you have testimony to back up this claim? Please show the witness to the stand. Emma? Yeah. Your name and profession, please.
Emma Sky. I'm a detective for the police department. I was on security detail at the concert forum that night.
Emma seems tired somehow. Security at the concert, you say?
Some security I was. Couldn't even stop a murder.
Now, don't blame yourself. Things like this happen. I've made even bigger mistakes in my career, you know. That's not something you want to admit, Judge. I'm sure that makes her feel much better.
I want to hear about these bigger mistakes.
In any case, because you were on security detail, the crime was quickly discovered. And we were able to identify the killer. You may give the court your testimony, if you would. Describe the circumstances of that day and your discovery of the crime, please.
All right. The night of the murder, I was on security backstage at Prosecutor Gavin's request. Only people involved with the concert in some way were allowed backstage. At the beginning of the third set, I heard shots. I went to the room filled with blaring rock music and found the body. I examined the scene and determined that only the defendant could have done it.
It was lucky that a detective was the first on the scene.
But that door was the only way out of the room, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Then I don't get it. How can they say that Machi did it?
Looks like we need a bit more information. Very well, the defense may begin the cross-examination. Okay, here we go. Murder circumstances. The night of the murder, I was on security backstage at Prosecutor Gavin's request. The night of the murder was the night of the concert, yes?
That's right.
What was a detective doing on security detail, might I ask? If it was only a concert.
My thoughts exactly. But orders are orders, even when they come from rock gods.
Prosecutor Gavin. Yes, allow me to explain. I smelled something that day, you might say. The stench of conspiracy. That day at the concert hall. Conspiracy? Well, isn't it obvious? My keys! That whole morning, no, the whole day was ruined. And it's all because someone stole my keys. I couldn't ride my hog to the show, I couldn't open my guitar case.
There he goes again.
Isn't it possible he simply misplaced them? Misplaced them? Misplaced items don't just wander into a murder victim's hand on their own. What's this? Prosecutor Gavin, if your keys were in the victim's hand, that makes you a prime suspect. Oh. It's guitar solo. Love, slow acting and new. And Troquinine is waiting for you.
He's singing something.
Does everything with this guy have to be so over the top? The killing happened in the middle of my concert. I was, like a sailor, adrift on the sea of sound. Anyway, I didn't want anything else stolen. So I put the detective with the most time on their hands up to the task. I see, I can accept that.
Well, I can't. What do you mean, time on their hands?
Please, the testimony. We were let in, though.
I didn't know about that. I certainly didn't invite you.
I gave the Fraulein special permission to be there. I wanted to see her again.
Oh boy, did you hear that? We're officially involved now.
Gee, great.
Some other hangers-on tried to get backstage, but I drove them off.
So no other outsiders were there then.
And then, at the beginning of the third set, I heard shots.
I believe we were having a chat when we heard the shots.
You were the one chatting. I was eating snackoos.
Ah, hey, no snacking in court. And you're sure the shots came from Lemuroy's room? Yes, absolutely.
Hey, I'm the one being cross-examined here. Here, this'll keep you quiet.
Ka-donk. Thanks. So, how about it, Emma?
We were right. There. Hard to be mistaken about that.
Please, either talk or eat. Not both at the same time.
Right, so after that, me and Mr. Lawyer there opened the dressing room. I went to the room filled with blaring rock music and found the body.
Rock?
Blaring, yes.
When you say rock, are you referring perhaps to this rock and roll music that's so popular these days? That's right, when we went into the dressing room, music was blaring over the speaker on the wall.
They pipe sound from the stage into the backstage through the speakers. That way, people in the back can hear what they're supposed to be on stage.
Did it have to be so loud? You don't listen to the Gaviners with your ears. You feel it with your entire body and soul. I always have the backstage monitors at full volume.
When we walked into the room, the band was playing Guilty Love, I believe, making it easy to determine the time of the crime.
If you could hear that music playing, then everyone on stage for that song had an alibi. Including myself.
Anyway, I closed off the scene and started my investigation. I examined the scene and determined that only the defendant could have done it.
How could you know something like that?
As I said, it was clear from the circumstances. Listen, we know there is only one exit from the room, that door. The small window was only opened a tiny crack, and I was standing in front of that door. So, how could the killer have fled the scene? There's only one possibility, the air vent.
Ah. But that air vent was too small. Who could possibly...
Exactly. There's certainly no way you could get through. No, you could get through, nor me. The only one who could fit through was a child.
A child?
Remember, access to those rooms was limited. Only those involved with the concert were allowed.
And all the people involved with the concert. Only one is small enough to be considered a child. The defendant. The pixie of the whatever, flitted up towards the sky and disappeared from the scene of the crime. But that's just conjecture. Oh, there was no other way out of that room. You were there. You should know it, Hair Forehead.
And there is another vital piece of evidence.
Evidence? What?
Marks were found in the air vent grill. Traces that had recently been opened.
Wait, what?
And something else was found quite clearly. The defendant, Machi Tobaye's fingerprints.
What? What? Damn. Order, order, order! That air vent was the only way out of the room. The defendant's fingerprints were found on the grill. Well, Hair Forehead, what fairy tale does this suggest to you? Ugh. Only one could pass through that air vent to the doorway. What? To the doorway to heaven? I'm guessing that's what it was. And that one is our pixie.
Why are you looking at me, Apollo? Hey, I was the one whooping it up in the audience.
So this was his decisive evidence. Hold on. Oh wait, quite decisive indeed. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Now I can actually see the bottom of the screen. I believe that's enough of that. The prosecution has a rather convincing case. The only way in and out of the crime scene was watched, making the defendant the only one who could possibly leave the scene. Simple and decisive. Ugh. I believe we've heard enough to determine our verdict, even if I wasn't in a hurry to make a hospital visit. I'm sure the Chief Justice will appreciate the gesture. Unfortunately, we have no direct witnesses. Fortunately, the criminal left decisive evidence for us. That will have to be enough. Ugh, it can't be over already. Very well, I believe this trial is finished. If the defense has no contradicting evidence, the prosecution has presented our proof, clear and plain. If you have contradicting evidence, it'd be better be clear and plain.
Apollo, they got us on the ropes already. We better come up with something quick.
I know. Tank, what can get us out of this? We need evidence or a witness that can prove Machi is innocent beyond a doubt. Without that, ugh. Mr. Justice? Okay, I'm saving. Do you have contradicting proof that can overturn the prosecution's case? If you do, you better tell us about it now. This is it, and so soon. If I mess up this one, it's all over. The court wants a contradicting proof. The defense is prepared to show contradicting evidence. This should be interesting. What sort of evidence? Yes, what sort of evidence, Mr. Justice? Show us evidence contradicting the prosecution's claims. This evidence does more than contradict. It flips the whole case on its head. Thank you for presenting evidence that is both clear and plain, as requested. Yes, clearly and plainly wrong. Fred, the only thing flipped on its head here was you as a child. What? I guess that wasn't it. Hold on. I was thinking, like, how could a little kid fire a gun with a caliber that big? Okay. Okay, if you shot that way. If he shot that way. I guess it doesn't matter where the gun was dropped. Let me see. Contradicting proof of what again? Can I present him?
Should be interesting. What sort of evidence? Yes, what sort of evidence, Mr. Justice? Show us evidence contradicting the prosecution's claims. Oh, damn it. Okay, so I can't show a person. I'm just gonna present this. Okay, yeah. Okay, I have no idea what to show. Okay, come on. Okay, call a witness. You claim that there were no witnesses to this crime. Are you absolutely sure? Absolutely. I'd swear it on my career as a prosecutor. And on my million-seller hit strong Troquinine, my love. There he goes again. That's too bad, because there was a witness. Oh, the witness is the siren. Right. Oh-ho, really now? But how did you come to possess knowledge the prosecution clearly does not? Because I'm the only one in the world who knows this. Oh, what's going on? I just talked to him and now... He's alive! Mr. Latouche, can you hear me? Cold. So cold. Witness. You're cold? Don't worry, you're gonna be fine. Help is on the way. Can't see. Hang in there, Mr. Latouche. Tell me, who is the witness? The witness is... Ren. What? The victim said this before he died. Perhaps he did, and perhaps he did not. What do you mean by that? All we know is what Hereford's head says he said. It's no testimony, especially since it comes from the defense attorney himself. But it's the truth. He said it. I even told you about it. But apparently you ignored me completely. It's my policy to fully investigate everything I deem relevant. Clearly this rookie lawyer thinks he can tell me how to do my job. That's enough. Mr. Justice, we need clear contradictory proof from you. This witness of yours, unknown to the prosecution. Okay, I'm saving. I'm pretty sure it's Lamiroy, but... You calling me Nugget? It's going good. I hope you're right. Failure contradicts a stiff penalty. Perhaps a stiffer penalty than usual is called for? Ugh, there's no backing out now. Let's hear the name of your witness, Mr. Justice. Lamiroy. Recall Mr. Latouche's last words. The witness is Siren. The siren. Aha! He meant the siren. That's right. The siren of the ballad. Lamiroy. Lamiroy was only on stage for the second set. And she had access to the backstage area. She could have been a witness. I see. Well, Prosecutor Gavin? My claim still stands. There was no witness to this crime. Very well. Let's hear it from the horse's mouth then, shall we? We will now take a break from Detective Emma Sky's cross-examination. Please show Lamiroy to the witness stand. Lamiroy would say nothing the night of the murder. Not today, though. Today we'll drag that story out of her no matter what it is. It is my distinct honor to welcome the Siren of the Ballad to our courtroom. You are too kind. You could speak English. Yes, I can. Although I am not very good, there is much I do not know. You speak so well. Have you spent time here before? Actually, I do not know how I came by my knowledge of your language, nor where I studied it. What does she mean she doesn't know? I, too, thought to call her as a witness, but I did not.
I had a reason, of course. What's that? Lemmy Roy suffers from amnesia. Amnesia?
Lemmy Roy is not my true name. Yet I remember nothing of the time before I was given it. Nothing of the time before I started singing on stage. So, hi! Whoa, she's even more mysterious than I thought.
As lauded singer Lemmy Roy, she lives a good life. There is little difficulties for her, thanks to her success. Yet, I did not wish to subject her to unnecessary stress. I see. I care surprisingly little about people's pasts. You have nothing to fear in this court, Lemmy Roy. You got gifted a lot of cute emotes? Aw, that's awesome. Dang. Who'd you get them from? Oh my gosh, that is... Oh my god, that's adorable. What channel are these from? You don't even know what to do with them. Well, they look really cute.
Thank you. Yet there is still something I do not understand. I am being called as a witness? What might I say? No one will tell me anything of what happened.
Lemmy Roy, let me be frank. Their name is Vampy? You just followed them recently? Oh, okay. Nice. I did not want to ask you up here to testify, yet that young gentleman with the wide forehead over there was adamant that you stand.
Oh my. Congratulations, Apollo, you're the bad guy.
Ugh. Well, now that you're here, please give us your testimony. If nothing else, the sound of your voice is welcome. Tell us what you saw the night of the crime. Okay. What I saw.
As for what I saw nothing. That night, I was invited to sing on stage, and this I did. I did not return backstage after the second set. Then I was led by the police to Mr. Gavin's dressing room and told to wait there. That was where I learned that something had happened, but I wasn't told the details.
I think I know what to present here. I must say, you sound wonderful just testifying. I hope he was too distracted to hear what she was actually saying. There you have it. She saw nothing that night. Now we can only pray that the defense has the sense to admit defeat and refrain from detaining her here longer than need be.
Wow, you just got better, Apollo. Way to go.
Very well, Mr. Justice. Keep it short and sweet. Lemmy Roy wouldn't talk to me the night of the crime. She must know something, and I've got to find out what. Okay, I'm pretty sure I know what to do, but I'm gonna save anyway.
That night, I was invited to sing on stage, and this I did. I did not return backstage after the second set, and I was led by the police to Mr. Gavin. Oh, I did not mean to do that! With Machi, correct? How was he then? He seemed as he always does, though I believe he was shocked by the news of Mr. Latus's death. Yet, he is not the type to show much emotion.
Yes, he's given the police no end of headaches. He answers most questioning with silence, and those glinting frames speak nothing. The questioning hasn't gone very far.
We sat there, waiting.
Okay. Okay, this is what I meant to do. Okay. Present this. You said it was yours. Yeah. I'm sorry, Lemmy Roy, but I'm having trouble believing you. You remember this brooch, do you not? Why, that's Lemmy Roy's. She was wearing it for her song. Care to add that to the testimony, Prosecutor Gavin? What? This brooch was found after the murder took place. At the very scene of the crime. What? Lemmy Roy, how did your brooch get backstage if you did not go back there yourself? And as Prosecutor Gavin just told us, you had been wearing it during your performance that night. What is the meaning of this? Leroy, please explain. Leroy? She says English is quite difficult. That trick's not going to work here. He's been bamboozled. Yes, your forehead may be large, but you're a lawyer, truly. But you have missed one important fact. What now? In fact, at the time of the incident, I went backstage, but only for a moment. What? Think back to the moment of the crime. You know whereof I speak. Is she really saying all that?
What's she talking about, Apollo?
Right when the incident occurred. Ah! Is she talking about that?
Watch this room for me. I have to call for backup.
Right. Understood. You want me to make sure no one comes in, right? Mr. Latouche, can you hear me? Cold. So cold. Witness. You're cold? Don't worry. You're gonna be fine. Help is on the way. The witness is siren. Siren? How can a siren witness anything? Yipes! Emma! What was that? Who's there? What's wrong? Emma! Did you see anyone just now? Huh? No. I could have sworn I heard a door close.
I looked into the room. Just a glance, mind you.
So this is when your brooch dropped. That explains that.
It does. There was no other time I could have dropped it.
That's ridiculous. You only looked in for an instant, but you dropped your brooch? Her forehead. She has raised a possibility. The only thing that can counter that is evidence. So she looked in at the crime scene.
Actually, I intended to go into the dressing room. I knew nothing of what had happened, of course. But the moment I opened the door, I heard a horrible voice.
Her forehead shouting, who's there, no doubt. A horrible voice indeed. Ugh.
I closed the door immediately.
Well, that explains the brooch. Let's return to your testimony. That's too convenient. She's hiding something. Leroy, you did look into the room though, right?
Yes.
Testify as to what you saw.
Very well, though it was only the briefest of glimpses.
Oh, okay. We're using our bracelet. Okay. When my performance was finished, I went backstage for just a moment. I saw nothing. The late Mr. Latouche's body was behind a wall. Okay, okay. When I was led by the police to Mr. Gavin's dressing room, I was told to wait there. That was where I learned that something had happened, but I wasn't told the details. Hold on. I saw nothing. I'm looking for any, like, signs. When I finished my performance, I went backstage for just a moment. Okay. Okay. Here again. Here again. What am I looking for here? I think this is the right one.
Okay. Hello, random person on the internet. Okay, I went backstage for just a moment. I saw nothing. Okay, let's proceed this. Okay. Here again. I think it has something to do with her lips. Or it could be her eyes. Okay, where is the tick? Has to be her lips. Here again. Okay, Saw nothing. And I was led by the police and told to wait there. That was where I learned something had happened, but I wasn't told the details. May I get your opinion on books? I like books. I haven't read one in a while, but I used to be obsessed with them. Okay, I went... Okay. I think it's her lips. Okay, maybe not. Okay, maybe not. Where am I supposed to be looking? Okay, I'm supposed to finish and went backstage for just a moment. I saw nothing. I'm pretty sure it's just a moment. Okay. Okay. I'm pretty sure it's this one. The just a moment one. Has to be her mouth. Where else is there to look?
if that's a... thank you for the follow.
Okay. It has to... What is it?
Wow, that was late. Hold on. Okay. I'm looking for the answer here because... Oh, whoops. Okay. Oh. That's a weird one.
Okay. Okay. Right, perceive. Okay, yeah, this is a weird one. Apparently it's her neck.
Gotcha!
The late Mr. Latusse's body, you say?
Yes?
You know something more about Mr. Latusse's death than you are saying. She's swallowing a hamster. Yeah.
What?
I could see you trying not to remember, but the effort made you swallow. You can't fool my eyes.
It is true. It was so terrible after all. Why did Mr. Latousse have to be shot?
One moment, Lemuroy.
Yes?
What was that you just said? Why did Mr. Latousse have to be shot?
Yes?
She was hiding something, I knew it. Lemuroy, I'm afraid you haven't realized it, but your words just now contradict your testimony.
Huh? How could that be?
Take this. Lemuroy contradicted her own testimony. I have evidence to prove it. Was shot. Easiest counter? What do you mean? Contradicted her own testimony. Okay, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Victim shot in the shoulder in Lemuroy's room. Okay. This? If I do not misunderstand the oh, I did it wrong. Ah, I got it wrong. Okay. Okay. To my chat above. Easiest. Because you swallowed it, be like, frick off, weirdo. Yeah. Yeah, Apollo is like, yeah. Gotta think this over. What did she say again? Why did Mr. Latousse have to be shot? That's right. That totally contradicts her testimony. Take this. Lemuroy contradicts her own. Why did he have to be shot? I'm lost. Why do you have to be shot? From a gunshot wound. Why do you have to be shot? Details. Okay. Looks a lot older than 35. Okay, so it's not that one. Is it the gun? Yeah, okay, I did it wrong again. I don't know the evidence they want me to present. Why did Mr. Latouche have to be shot? Why did Mr. Latouche have to be shot? Why did Mr. Latouche have to be shot? I genuinely don't know what it is. Why did Mr. Latouche have to be shot? That's right. That totally contradicts her testimony. It should have been this one. Why do you have to be shot? Why did he have to be shot? Well, he was shot. What did she say in her testimony again? This? Okay. I'm running out of options. Okay. Alrighty, I thought I already presented. Do I have to present this again? What? Okay, I just looked it up and that makes no sense. What does this say? To ensure the bearer is here to ask no one concern the details of the case. Okay, so she knows more about the case? Is that what we're trying to say? Tell me, Lemuroy. How did you know he had been shot? Huh? Well, Okay. Immediately following the incident, a gag order was placed on the scene. This is the document proving that. In your testimony, you told the court, no one told me anything about the incident. Furthermore, you testified that you had seen nothing. Yet you knew that Mr. Latouche had been shot. How could you have known? Yeah!
Hold on. Give me 1 second. Okay, I found it. I found the meme. Sal, I'm gonna send it to you on Discord. Okay.
Lemuroy, you aren't hiding something from this court, I hope. That sweet song of hers was sounding a little too sweet.
Now I remember. Please, allow me to add to my testimony.
Of course. All we want to know is the truth.
She looks kind of pale, huh?
She saw something, I know it. Yep, that's basically what he does. He makes somebody uncomfortable and then they confess, basically.
She saw something, I know it.
Even the victim said so. Oh, she saw something, I know it. Even the victim said so.
I saw bullet holes in the wall and knew Mr. Latouche had been shot. Then I was led by the police to Mr. Gavin's dressing room and told to wait there. That was where I learned that something had happened, but I wasn't told the details.
How was the incident explained to you?
I was told nothing in detail, only that Mr. Latouche died.
You smell different when you're lying. This is the taste of a liar. Of course, investigations require some security.
But Mr. Latouche was my manager. I wanted to know more. I should have been told. Both Machi and I were beside ourselves with concern.
Allow me to apologize, but please understand. Keeping you in the dark was as painful for me as it was for you.
Yes, I understand.
Think, what doesn't ring true about her testimony?
It's hard to imagine Lemuroy lying.
She might not be lying, but she's hiding something. What wouldn't she tell me the night of the murder? As for what I saw nothing. Okay. That night, I was invited to sing on stage, and this I did. When my performance was finished, I went backstage for just a moment. A bullet holes in the wall, knew Mr. Latouche had been shot. Okay. Saw bullet holes in the wall, but the door is blocking it. Oh, I got it right. Lemuroy, they call you the siren of the ballad, but lies are hardly becoming of such a creature. A put-down worthy of our prosecutor, Mr. Justice.
Such a put-downs are hardly becoming of you, Apollo.
But he's not a prosecutor. Stop polishing your forehead and start polishing your character, yeah? Come on, can't I be cool for once? Observe the diagram. Lemuroy, you looked from the door just for a moment. For just a moment, correct?
Yes, that is so.
There were bullet holes in the room, yes. But they were in the wall the door is on. You see? Assuming you merely glanced into the room, you could only have seen those you couldn't have seen those bullet holes. Yeah! Lemuroy.
Yes?
I'm afraid the defense has raised a good point. It appears you have been holding back something.
And I must tell you? I must tell you what it is that I saw?
Yes. The happenings in this trial are being recorded, and I'm certain it will be on the news in Virginia. You understand your reputation is at stake. It falls to you to avoid tarnishing it. Personally speaking, I still believe that cross-examining her will yield us absolutely nothing. But she knew how Mr. Latouche died, and he named her as a witness. You must have seen something, Lemuroy. Very well. Lemuroy, please continue your testimony.
Very well, I shall. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. There was something like a little window there. That's how I saw it. There were 2 shots. I couldn't do anything to stop it. But it wasn't Machi. It was a grown person. I know it was.
Oh. So you did witness the crime, and the killer was a grown person, you say? This is my first time hearing this, I assure you. Nice play, Hair Forehead. Very well, Mr. Justice. You may begin your cross-examination.
Great going, Apollo. You were right about Lemuroy. What's wrong? You don't look too happy.
This whole thing smells fishy. That's what's wrong. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. There was something like a little window there. That's how I saw it. Where does it show the window? It was in the corner of the room. There were 2 shots. I couldn't do anything to stop it. Okay. But it wasn't Machi. It was a grown person. I know it was.
Oh, you can't ask for a better testimony than that.
I'm not so sure that's all that simple, Shirsi. There's a critical flaw in this testimony, and I have to point it out, even if it isn't good for our case. Oh. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. There was something like a little window there. That's how I saw it. There were 2 shots. I couldn't do anything to stop it. Okay, but it wasn't Machi. It was a grown person. A grown person? That's a little vague.
I am sorry. My skill with your language is lacking, I know.
Certainly you can at least see whether the shooter was male or female.
It was a man, a young man.
And you're sure of that?
Yes, his voice was quite clear.
Voice? Looking at this diagrams, it seems the dressing room was quite cluttered. It does seem likely that you wouldn't have had a clear view of the shooter.
As a singer, I rely more on my ears than my eyes. When I hear a voice, I do not forget it. That voice was the voice of a man.
So you heard a voice, but wait. Couldn't that have been the victim, Mr. Latouche?
Absolutely not. Did I not just say that I do not forget a voice? If it was Mr. Latouche who spoke, I would have known.
Indeed. So you were at the window and you heard the shooter's voice, the voice of a young man.
Apollo, this is a good testimony. That proves it wasn't Machi.
Indeed. If this turns out to be true, it would cast this case in a considerably different light. What is the defense's opinion of this testimony? Okay. It's contradictory. How could they have escaped? Though it pains me to say this, there's something about Lemuroy's testimony that rings false. Bravo, Hair Forehead. You're colder than I thought. I'm sure you remember what the problem is as well as I do, Gavin. As has been established, no grown man could pass through that air vent. He couldn't have fled the scene of the crime.
But that means Lamore has to be lying.
I know, and it's bad for our case, but I can't shut my eyes to this. Believe me, the idea was tempting. It is as Hair Forehead says. Yet this is not the only contradiction within her testimony. Well, what next? What's he talking about? Lemuroy. Lemurar. Is it really Lemurar? That sounds so awful. Like noir? Lemurar? That doesn't sound very good. I'm still gonna call her Lemuroy. I understand why you would want to protect Machi, yet remember, you are the siren of the ballad. And lies do not become such a creature. What does the prosecution mean?
Apollo, what's he talking about?
How come no one bats an eye when he says stuff like that? I recall the state of the crime scene quite well. The state of the room? Yes, when the murder took place, that window was closed. I find it hard to believe you could hear a voice through it.
What? But I'm sure.
Lemuroy, I have nothing but the highest regard for your musical sense. But my opinion of you as a witness is somewhat lesser. But she's the only eyewitness we have. So you say. And the victim named her, the siren, as the witness? That's right. That's what Mr. Latouche... We heard your claim. We even entertained the possibility, and it brought us to this. Herr Judge. Yes? The prosecution requests that the witness be excused. Please. I'm afraid I must honor the prosecution's request. There is indeed a question of the witness's credibility. But if Lemuroy can't testify,
then we don't have a chance of proving Machi's innocence.
This cross-examination is over. Prosecutor Gavin, you may continue making your case. Danke. Now where were we? Ah yes, I would like to hear from Fraulein Detective again. Wait, let me hear Lemuroy's testimony one more time. But the cross-examination is already over. Until such a time as a need arises. This witness may leave the stand.
I'm sorry I could not be of more assistance.
I need some water, hold on. Went down the wrong way, hold on. At last, back to the real trial. Ready, Hair Forehead? I hope I didn't just miss my only chance. Fraulein Detective, how far have we gotten until we were so rudely interrupted?
Don't ask me.
I dislike saying the same thing twice, and I never repeat a song for an encore. If you would, Miss Sky.
I believe I was saying that the only way Mr. Latouche's killer could have escaped was through that air vent on the ceiling.
Yes, there was only one door in the room, and a witness, you, was standing in front of it.
That air vent isn't very big, see? Kind of limits the people who could possibly get through.
I certainly would have a difficult time.
You sure would. Not that you would have been there in the first place, though. Remember, the whole backstage area was off limits to people not involved with the concert. The only one who meets the conditions for our killer is the defendant.
A virtuoso performance. I wouldn't have put it better myself. She does state a clear case. Though reading the report, something caught my eye. Oh, what's that? The circumstances of the defendant's arrest.
The circumstances? Again? Hey, that's right, Apollo. Remember when we found Machi? That was bizarre.
Oh yeah, he was... Yeah. Yeah, why did Mr. Latouche's body disappear from the room? And end up on top of that stage tower? Holding a guitar, no less. A perceptive observation, Herr Judge. Thanks, it was kind of an accident, really. But you work in this job long enough. You get a nose for these things.
The judge sure seems pleased with himself.
Very good, Fraulein Detective. Perhaps you can tie it all together for us. Why was the body moved? And how does that lead us to the killer? How did a little boy move an entire grown man?
I believe Machi stole the body because of some lyrics. He moved the body to match Lemuroy's song. No one in this country had a motive to kill the victim, and Machi practically left his signature at the scene. All of this evidence clearly points to the defendant.
Lemuroy's song? Hold on. Got you. Okay. Okay. Lemuroy's song. Yes, the guitar serenade. You noticed its code too, did you not? It's code. All the events that day followed the lyrics to our song. Oh, okay. Okay, so the song does go to it. Okay. First, the keys my heart held onto so tightly were stolen. Then Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flames on stage. Mr. Latus's life was taken by a bullet. The rest hardly needs explanation. Guitar, guitar, up together to the sky. That's mad. It's like a story out of some fairy tale. I admit I'd forgotten about the song. But there it is now, waiting for me. The grand finale, as it were.
Hey, you know, I was the one who first noticed that.
I've heard of jumping rope to songs, but counting to songs. But killing! It's a wild world out there, Herr Judge. Very well. We've heard one song and dance. Let us get on to the next. The cross-examination. Not so sure I'm gonna be doing much singing.
I believe Machi stole the body because of some lyrics. He moved the body to match Lemuroy's song. No one in the country had a motive to kill the victim. And Machi practically left his signature at the scene.
What do you mean by his signature? Yeah. Apollo just said exactly what I did. What do you mean by his signature?
The bullet holes in the wall, of course.
The bullet holes.
The revolver was fired twice. One shot missed and left a hole in the wall.
And that means what exactly?
That dressing room isn't exactly spacious. Picture the shooter facing off with the victim in there. They can't have been more than 5 feet apart. It would be difficult, almost impossible to miss at that range.
Difficult to miss, you say?
Very. Assuming the shooter could properly aim.
No, you can't be serious.
Machi, he can't see. That's why he missed? It's the only explanation that makes sense. He used sound and other senses to fire the gun. Poorly.
That reminds me, the monitor in that room was blaring at the time, yeah? Hardly ideal conditions for tracking by sound. A blind shooter. No wonder he missed. I knew those bullet holes would come back to haunt me. Think justice. What do I do now? I'm gonna save. That's what I'm gonna do. History. A blind shooter. No wonder he missed. Sure, there were bullet holes left in the wall. But that doesn't prove the shooter couldn't see. Oh, how so? Well, there could have been a struggle with the victim. That's certainly possible. And it might have been the revolver's fault. The revolver? The revolver was a very large caliber, correct? If the shooter wasn't used to firing such a large weapon, why, it could dislocate their shoulder. Exactly. The defendant, Machi Tobae, has, as you can see, tiny. It's not so hard to picture him firing a gun and missing entirely. The kickback alone would throw off his aim. A convincing argument, to be sure. Haha, take that, smug prosecution.
Apollo?
Huh? What?
That bit about Machi being tiny? And the gun throwing off his aim? Aren't you kind of, admitting that he did it?
Oh. It does not matter why he missed. What matters is that the shooter was, without a doubt, the defendant. Even the defense seems to agree on that point. Cripes, I really put my foot in it this time. But let's get the facts of the matter on the record. If you would, Fraulein Detective. Very well, the witness will add this to her testimony.
Right. From the state of the crime scene, I conclude the shooter was blind.
Maybe I'm getting too ahead of myself, but the killer would have had to smear that blood. Maybe I'm too ahead of myself, though. Oh, whoops.
This doesn't look so good, does it, Apollo?
No, it doesn't.
What do we do?
First, we don't panic. Even though Machi's case is leaking water by the gallon, Gavin's on a roll, and it's up to me to stop him. Stole the body because of some lyrics. Okay, present. I wanna... Why can't I examine what looks like writing? Okay. Oh, I was right! The prosecution holds that the shooter couldn't see.
A scientific conclusion based on a thorough examination of the crime scene, yes.
Apparently not thorough enough. I have a certain piece of evidence that completely overturns your claim.
What?
This is the evidence. The photograph of the crime scene. I don't care much for the smirk on Prosecutor Gavin's face, but this is no time to think twice. Time to press on. Yes, Your Honor, the crime scene. There is something in here that decisively contradicts the prosecution's point. Then perhaps you best show us this something. Get your finger out of the breeze and put it to good use, yeah? That sounded very bad. Very well, show us what you're talking about, Mr. Justice. The contradiction at the scene of the crime is... this. The contradiction is right here.
The smeared bloodstains.
I thought it was just my blurry vision. But it really was blurry. The way the victim's hand is raised above his head. Much like a gesture I've seen many times in this court. It's almost
as if he wrote something? Aha! I get it. At least I think I get it.
Get what, Fraulein?
When Mr. Latouche was shot, he tried to write something. And what would he write but the shooter's name? And what would he write it in but his own blood? Pretty good, huh?
Thanks for making my point for me. Yes, in fact, that's what I think happened here. That does seem to be a distinct possibility.
The victim wrote the killer's name. It's certainly a logical conclusion. Drat, I just wish it wasn't all rubbed out like that.
Of course it's rubbed out. Why, if I were a killer, I certainly wouldn't want to leave my own name behind. Neither would I. No one has anything else to say? About what? So the prosecution accepts this. You agree that this was the victim making an attempt to record the name of the killer, and that the killer tried to rub the name out? What's your point? What's my point? Let me ask you this. How did the killer know the victim was writing their name?
Well, Mr. Latouche was writing something in blood. Once the killer saw what it was... Wait.
Once he saw what it was. But what did you just testify about the shooter?
I said they were blind. Ah!
Yet the crime scene itself contradicts that. The killer had to have been able to see. Why would they rub out the name in blood otherwise? May I remind you, the court, that the defendant Machi Tobaye is blind. He couldn't have been the shooter.
Impossible!
Order! 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 Prosecutor Gavin, please explain to me what all this means. I mean, looking at this photo.
Hello, Anyloot.
It seems quite clear that the shooter could see. Yet up until now, it seems I owe the court an apology. The Gaviners are a band with law enforcement ties, yet a murder occurred. During our concert, apparently this caused some confusion over jurisdiction. As a result, some reports were not filed in an entirely timely manner. I'm not sure I like the vibe I'm getting here.
Hey, Apollo, look at him. Why is Prosecutor Gavin all relaxed and smiling like that? Like he knows something we don't, and he's about to tell us.
I'm pretty sure he became a prosecutor before he became a band member. I've got an idea. Let's rock. With these documents. But before that, I have a question for the Fraulein detective, if I may.
What?
Tell me, why do you think that Mochi Tobaye is blind?
Is he not blind?
Ooh, that would be a big plot twist.
Huh?
What did he say?
What are you saying? Of course he's blind.
Of course.
He's the blind pianist, right? So he's... Doesn't Lemmy Roy lead him around by the hand all the time?
No way. I have a report here on the defendant Machi Tobaye. According to this, Machi Tobaye can see perfectly well.
What?
Ooh, his blindness was merely a publicity ploy for those clever Borginians. He can see quite well. But you said... What did I say exactly? Her forehead, not once in the course of this trial have I claimed the defendant was blind. The only one who did was Fraulein detective. But that's a significant fact, yes. Consider, Machi Tobaye sees, and he was the only one who could have fled through the air vent. I see no problems with this.
But what about the bullet holes in the wall?
Yes, the bullet holes. I believe Herr Forehead neatly explained those for us. He didn't miss because he couldn't see. It was a kickback from the .45 caliber revolver. A simple accident, in other words. Ack! How's that? I'm afraid your objection is just flown off for brighter skies. This is where the real fun begins, Herr Forehead. Yeah! Oof. Yeah, it's over. I knew you didn't have what it took. You jerk! Just what was I in here for? Comic relief?
Yeah, apologize.
Oh, sorry.
That's no way to apologize.
He's angered the Trucy now. Look out. If we could please end the bickering now.
Whatever, I'm not leaving. I can't leave like this. I'll come up with some clue to solving this case if it kills me.
But your testimony's already given us enough to convict the defendant. Don't say that. What?
This blood stain. The criminal tried to wipe it off, right?
That seems to be what happened, yes.
We might be able to find out what was really written here.
Really? You can do that.
That's right. With this.
Oh, luminol.
It's called luminol.
Yep.
Maybe you know of it? It's a chemical that reacts to blood.
Yes. Have we done those tests yet?
Ha! As if I'm going to tell you.
The blood stains covered a section of the carpet. In order to perform blood tests, that section was removed and submitted. Perhaps we should request a hearing in court now.
Right. Go for it, Apollo.
Huh? I have to do the test?
You just have to spray the luminol on it. Simple.
Chemical that reacts to blood. I've heard of this somewhere. Yes, I believe an analysis is called for. Have at it.
Okay. Right. Ready? It's easy as pie. Just press space to spray an area. Here, give it a try.
The eyes of the entire court are focused on me.
Apollo, your hand's shaking.
Let's do this. What? Wow, it really works.
This must be the power of science. It says...
Yeah, what the heck? Trying to see what I could... Can that spell anything upside down?
Is that the killer's
name? Maybe it is. If the killer was a robot. Aha, I have it. So what is it? I thought those letters IPXX looked familiar. It's an Interpol ID number.
Interpol? You mean the International Police Agency?
Yes, most are undercover agents working to solve international crimes. But why would you write that number? Why would Mr. Latus even know a number like that? Good show, Fraulein Detective. Rock on.
Eh?
Your Honor, can we verify this number immediately? Darian, are you there? Come up to the witness stand. Darian, you heard what we need. Go check into this Interpol ID number. Sure thing. Give me 30 minutes. No, give me 27. I'm not sure what to think of all this. The prosecution's case is airtight, or so it seems. Yet if this number is really that of an Interpol agent...
Oh wait, I know. What if Machitobae is really an undercover Interpol agent?
That would be a possibility. A possibility, yes. And one that would mark him as a killer for certain. Why did Latus know an Interpol ID number? That's what I want to know. Well, we have some time while we await Darian's report. Let's work on unraveling another mystery, shall we? A curious mystery concerning Machitobae. What are you talking about? Frontline Detective, please accept my apologies. I received word that the defendant could, in fact, see just before the trial began. It seemed too much of a bother to tell you.
You had me until that last bit.
Does this not raise a rather straightforward question?
Well, sure. Why did Machi pretend he couldn't see?
Exactly. It makes little sense. What do you think, Hair Forehead? Huh? Me? Machi Tobaye pretended he was blind. Do you know why?
How could he know? Wait, Prosecutor Gavin knows why, doesn't he?
He's known from the start of the trial. He's been leading us on the whole time. Something wrong? Do you think perhaps this is all some kind of game? Know that the moment I heard that report, I knew why. Someone faked the report? Usually evidence, well, there's only one case that the evidence was flawed. Well, no, there were multiple cases, but I don't think that this is the case. I don't think this is a case of that. I suppose people who have sold over 1 million records really are something else. What does that have to do with anything? There was a reason why Machi Tobaye pretended he was to be blind, but it wasn't for his own sake. Getting the picture now? It wasn't for himself? Well, Mr. Justice, can you present evidence that shows us why the defendant had to feign blindness? Well, I have to show evidence. Machi had no reason to pretend he couldn't see. Which means... No, it couldn't be! Wait a minute. I have a theory, but I don't want to say it yet. Good show, Air Forehead. It seems you've thought of something. Why can't I figure out these things out on my own? I hate having to take my cues from this guy. Very well, look at this. This is why he was pretending he couldn't see. Okay. This? I was right! Okay. So, they were always talking about how Machi was leading, or how, Lemuroy was leading, Machi by the hand, right? Well, what if it was the other way around? What if Lemuroy is blind? She kept repeatedly saying that she saw nothing. And then she said she was extremely vague about the person that shot Mr. Latouche. She said she could only hear his voice. That yeah, she's blind. That is Lemuroy. Lemuroy and Machi Tobaye. Recall their relationship, in particular their unique arrangement over the years before visiting our country. Lemuroy and her pianist. They would always walk together, she leading him by the hand. Even when they got on stage, she would lead him to the piano. She would walk all the way over there with him. That's right, because he was blind. She led him all times, never letting him go. All times. Yet we have just learned something that makes their arrangement peculiar indeed. Machi could see. Why did they have to keep up the act the whole time? Well, wasn't it part of their performance? I think there's a simpler explanation. Machi did not need to be led by the hand at all. That can only mean one thing. Really? Really, it was all the other way around. The one who needed to be led by the hand was Lemuroy. What's this? So you mean to say that Lemuroy is... she's... Yes, Your Honor. Lemuroy is blind. What? What? Order, order, order! This is crazy. Prosecutor Gavin. Is it now? Please shed some light, some sanity on this madness. The defense has made an outrageous claim. The only thing outrageous I see about the defense is his vast forehead. Yet I see it is not vast in vain, this time. He's quite correct. But that makes no sense.
Yeah, wasn't she supposed to be the landscape painter in sound or something?
Well, since we have her here, why not ask Lemuroy herself? I believe she's still in the witness waiting room.
Apollo? What does this mean for our case?
Don't ask me. I had no idea she couldn't see. I hadn't even imagined it until now. Bailiff, bring in Lemuroy. Lemuroy, it pains me deeply to call you before us again in this way, and yet I must.
Please, do not be concerned on my behalf.
Those eyes, she really can't see? Really?
It is true. How funny it is that a tiny lie born in the Virginian countryside would one day grow to entangle the entire world.
So you are...
Yes, as I mentioned before, I have no memory of the time before I became Lemuroy. Know too that my memories begin in darkness. The word light has no meaning for Lemuroy.
I see. You may recall me saying something towards the beginning of this trial, Hair Forehead. What's that? I believe I said it was unfortunate this crime had no direct witnesses. Ah. Now, Lemuroy, I must ask you to stand once more. Will you testify to the court about your eyes?
Of course. It was never my intent to deceive any of you. May I begin, Your Honor?
Yes, of course. Though I admit I'm a little lost here. I think we're all a bit lost here, Your Honor.
I have no memory of light. I debuted in a world full of darkness and sound. My producer came up with my PR line before he knew this. So silly as it may sound, I had to pretend I could see. Everyone on my staff knew, of course, but no others.
But... Didn't Latu say she was the witness? But this is a murder trial.
I apologize. It was part of my contract, you see. I was to keep my blindness a secret no matter what. Music is everything for me. I never imagined something like this would...
She told us the truth in the beginning, when she said she saw nothing. Very well. Does the defense have anything to add? I'd like to cross-examine.
But what is there left to ask?
There's one thing in her testimony that bothered me. Perhaps it's best we let you get it out of your system. Someday you'll come to understand. The importance of thinking for yourself. Very well, the defense may proceed. However, be aware this court will not tolerate any questions deemed too stressful for the witness. Okay, there was only one part that bothered me. Just let me ask about that and I'll be happy. Okay. Yeah, this part. When you say your staff, do you include Mr. Latus?
Of course, he was my manager.
So he knew, and that's what's been bugging me. Something the matter, Mr. Justice? I believe I know what's bothering our young defense attorney. You are thinking of when you discovered the body, yes?
Is he right, Apollo?
Yes, I was. He's alive. Mr. Latus, can you hear me? Cold, so cold, witness. You're cold? Don't worry, you're gonna be fine. Help is on the way. Can't see. Oh, he said can't see. Hang in there, Mr. Latus. Tell me, who is the witness? The witness is Siren. Mr. Latus told me to ask the witness, and he named you. Why would he do that? He knew you were blind.
I don't know.
What did I just say? You need to learn to think for yourself. Meaning what? There is no mystery here if you recall everything he said. Think of his last words once more. The witness siren. We've heard that many times, along with a little play acting by our defense. I remember them well myself, but that statement is not what I refer to what I prefer. I mean what he said before that. Before? What came before that? Ah! That's right, he tried to tell you. When he said can't see, he wasn't talking about himself. He was talking about the witness. I see. Too bad the defense did not. Well, Hair Forehead? Try relaxing and looking at the facts first next time. Ugh. Damn. Order! Order! Recall Lemuroy's earlier statement, or testimony.
I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. There were 2 shots. I couldn't do anything to stop it.
But she couldn't have heard those gunshots. I thought we proved that. That is not the most important point here. The moment he was shot, Mr. Latouche witnessed her through the window. Why else would he have named her as the witness?
Ah. But I really did hear them. 2 gunshots. In the man's voice.
Unfortunately, such a thing was impossible. The window was closed. We have already run a simulation, of course.
But it was so clear. If I heard that voice again, I would know it in an instant.
Your Honor. What is it, bailiff? Can't you see we're in session here? We have the results back from the investigation. The investigation? Ah, the Interpol number that Mr. Latouche left us. Well, let's hear it. We will continue this cross-examination afterwards. Detective Grisend, your report, please. I asked Interpol about that number. I'm sure you'll find their answer intriguing. Quick work as always, Darian. Well, tell us about the number. Is the defendant a secret agent? The agent registered under this number was Romain Latouche. What? Our undercover Interpol agent was Mr. Latouche himself. He was apparently in the middle of an operation. So when he wrote those letters, he was trying to tell us his own identity. And a cautious killer tried to wipe them away.
Mr. Latouche was an undercover Interpol agent? So him being Lemuroy's manager?
It's just a cover, most likely. There's one other important detail I found. Well, out with it. It concerns that .45 caliber revolver, the murder weapon. Apparently, it belonged to Romain Latouche. He had an Interpol permit to carry firearms. And the registration number of the revolver matched. So the victim was killed with his own weapon, which makes sense. It's hard to imagine someone who wasn't an Interpol agent with such a large revolver. So the victim was an Interpol agent on an undercover op. I wonder how that ties into everything.
It's gotta tie in somehow, you think?
Yeah, somehow. Thanks for looking into that for us, Detective Grisend. It's a great help. Oh, no problem at all, Your Honor. I'll be heading out.
Hold it! Wait!
Lemuroy, is something the matter?
That voice just now. Was it Darian who killed him?
Darian?
Mr. Darian, is it? It was him. I am sure of it.
It was him? You weren't saying...
That voice I heard talking to Mr. Latouche when I heard the gunshots fired. It was him! It was Mr. Darian!
Is this some kind of joke? What? No way. Oh, he has a mullet, too. He doesn't only have... He doesn't even have only that thing. He has a mullet, too. Ah, god damn it. Hold on. Okay. Gotta hop out? Okay, bye, Sal. The courtroom fell into such a chaotic state, the trial had to be suspended temporarily. I'd never seen that happen before. Of course, it's not every day that you get an accusation like that one. Lemuroy fingering Darian Crescent. Not only is he a guitarist, but he's a detective. Could it really have been his voice Lemuroy heard? Things were changing fast, and frankly, I wasn't sure I could keep up with it. Hey, no whipping out now, Apollo! To be continued. Yes, save. Okay. I said I was gonna, raid Sal, but my voice is getting tired. Sal, if you're still here, I'll still be there for your, stream. Okay? Alright. Bye-bye, guys. Let's see who we can raid. Anyone we can raid? Hold on. Oh, wow. Okay, no one's online. Okay, anyway. Bye-bye.